Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Wow, this has been a wild few days for Warhorse Studios. There's a whole lot going on. There's a lot of layers to what's happening. I'm going to give you enough information so you understand everything, but it's going to take a while to get through all of that. So for those of you who don't have a lot of time and need somebody to explain to you right up front what in the hell is going on, 8-bit closed fist. Let them know what the deal is.
It's bigotry, and it was always bigot. It was never about the games. It's about a bunch of crybaby, insecure folks who see that the world is changing and it's not catering to them anymore.
I know. You don't believe him. You think he's just bluffing. Wait for it. You'll believe him by the time this video ends. All right, now, first up, January 15th, a few days ago, right? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was announced to be banned in Saudi Arabia. Now, this is reportedly, supposedly. Even today, we do not actually have confirmation that the game is banned in Saudi Arabia. What we do have confirmation of is that there are scenes in the game that a small section of the population would consider to be immoral. More specifically, these gay scenes supposedly are unskippable cutscenes, and consequently, Kingdom Come 2 could potentially be banned in Saudi Arabia. Now, I haven't finished the first Kingdom Come game yet, but supposedly it did have a small amount of pride content due to one of the main villains being someone who is gay. And my understanding is the game dealt with that in a very, very realistic way, and it would make sense for that thread to be followed up on in the sequel. Also, in the majority of Kingdom Come, Henry is treated as a peasant. He's treated as someone of a lower status. Again, I haven't finished the game, but my understanding is in Kingdom Come 2, he's more of a noble and therefore someone of a higher stature. That means he's going to be dealing directly and on a personal level with people of a much higher stature. And we all know people who got a whole lot of money and they got a whole lot of power, they don't deal with the same rules that other people deal with. And some of them have very extravagant lifestyles. To me, it would make sense that Henry would be exposed to all of that. But some people obviously disagree, and they have questions for Warhorse Studios. Consequently, co-founder and creative director Dan Vavra is also being forced to answer certain questions. Now, you might wonder, what kind of questions is he answering? What has been the response from some of the quote-unquote fans of the game? Well, let me tell you. Here is a great example. Lucien Draven, a guy who in his little profile picture, he's got a nice little swastika on top of Pepe the Frog. You know, these folks, they love Pepe the Frog. I don't know why. And also the Jewish symbol, of course. He says, speaking to Warhorse Studios, why you don't fucking answer about the stupid black in the game and the F-bomb scene. You're a liar, but not surprised looking at your early life. I have no idea what that means. Kingdom Woke, F-bomb, and Black Edition. Why doesn't he just say nigga? If you're already using F-bombs, why wouldn't you also say the N? Anyway, my mind goes places. Let's continue on. Dan responds to this person and says, hey, I haven't answered you because I don't talk to Nazi shitheads like you. Damn. Now, the question becomes, why? Why is it that people who feel very, very strongly against any gay content or pride content against their games, why do they feel like Warhorse Studios would owe it to them not to put that kind of content into the game? Why do they feel blindsided by this news? Well, Grummz did a great job of summarizing it for everybody and making it clear why folks would feel like there should be more kinship between Dan and folks who are essentially Nazis, or at least portray themselves as Nazis. The reason why people feel betrayed by Kingdom Come Deliverance is because of the history. The first game came out as mostly an unknown indie game and was attacked by Kotaku and others for not having multicultural diversity in a period history game which was just being accurate to the times. Now, let me make it clear. I agree on both points. Kotaku did attack Warhorse Studios for having a game that was essentially mostly white. And I do agree that Kingdom Come Deliverance is accurate for the times. I made a video making it clear I don't believe black people needed to be in that game. I don't believe the criticism was correct, right? So this is something that Warhorse Studios had to fight through in order to make Kingdom Come successful. Grummz is right about this. They, meaning Kotaku, tried to cancel the game during the height of GamerGate 1. We're in a new GamerGate now. And many journalists wrote attack articles. Warhol Studios took a stand and told them to pound sand. Again, rightfully so. Gamers rewarded them with huge sales, making the game a great success. Studio founder Dan was a big GamerGate supporter and joined us all in the fight. This is all true. This is all facts. But the problem is when Grummz says gamers, he just means GamerGate. He's trying to make it seem like the folks who do not like black people in games, do not like pride content in games, do not like women being put in positions of power within their games, that these are the people who have made Warhorse Studios successful, as opposed to a wide swath of people deciding to support the game because Warhorse Studios made a great game. I bought Kingdom Come. I'm playing Kingdom Come. I'm live streaming the game. I'm making content about the game. It's not because I align with Gamergate. It's not even because I believe that Dan aligns with my personal politics and philosophies. It's because enough people told me, hey, this is a really good game. You should try it out. Grummz is kind of giving himself and Gamergate too much credit, in my personal opinion. But let's keep it moving. Warhorse was acquired by THQ and became a big studio. Warhorse would not have been the huge success it was without gamers voting with their wallets, because the studio was brave enough to take a stand. This is why people are shocked. They fought alongside gamers, and now that is being drawn into question as rumors swirl. The first rumor is posted below, and the studio only gave a cryptic response about historically accurate exploding crates. Now, when he speaks about the first rumor, it talks about Kingdom Come Deliverance supposedly being, it's definitely bigger, but supposedly it's also going to be more diverse. Keep in mind, when they say diverse, it's talking also about a lot of other different white cultures being added into the game. My understanding is that there is one black person who's been added to the game, but I haven't heard anything about a wide swath of different non-white races being added into the experience to diversify it. So to me, there's a whole lot of people making this into more than what it actually is, just because they hate even the idea of there being other cultures or other races within the game at all, which again, just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But even more importantly, he goes on to say, now we have the Saudi rumors. And Dan has responded by calling one of the questioners a Nazi, instead of answering one of the many questions being fielded by many gamers in the past 25 hours. To be clear, he's talking about this guy. He's talking about this guy. This guy who is angry about one black person potentially being in the game, one black merchant potentially being in the game, and who is dropping all these F-bombs in regards to the gay community. Grummz is saying you should be treating this person with humility and grace and answering their questions. Somebody explain to me, on what planet does that make sense? On what planet do you look at this and say, yeah, this is a person that you should really, really be taking seriously, right? He goes on, still no real answers. It is important that Daniel and Warhorse get in front of the rumors and tell us all plainly what is going on. I am hoping for the best, and that Warhorse and Daniel don't forget the gamers that made them such a huge success when everyone else was trying to cancel them. Again, I feel like Grummz gives Gamergate way too much credit for the success of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I think there were a ton of people who supported that game that don't give a damn about the things GamerGate talks about. But even beyond that, it's an interesting question. Why does Grummz keep specifically bringing up Daniel? Why does he specifically call out him instead of calling out Warhorse Studios as a whole? Why does he feel like there's some special kinship between himself and Dan where it seems like he almost feels betrayed and is surprised by Dan reacting in this way? Well, luckily, once again, Grummz is very, very clear about why he feels this is a situation. People ask me why I'm giving Warhorse Studios and Kingdom Come Deliverance the benefit of the doubt. And he's made repeated posts basically saying, hold on, wait for their response. Let's not take this out of proportion, blah, 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 blah. And why I am asking people to judge the game when it comes out. This is why. This is Dan, creator and co-founder of Warhorse and Kingdom Come Deliverance. And when he says this is him, he puts up this picture. Now, this is a picture of the co-founder and creative director of Kingdom Come Deliverance, and it says, hey, #based, white privileged, able-bodied, cisgender, basement-dwelling, man-baby, virgin, scum. I don't know what that word is. Malacratic, maybe? MRA, neckbeard, shitlord, right? So basically what he's saying is, hey, these guys who are portraying themselves as Nazis, well, Dan should be one of them. Dan should see some kinship with them. Dan loves being white. Dan is proud to be white. Dan is somebody who's on our side. So when someone says, why do you have all these F-bombs in your game? Dan should be a little bit more humble and conciliatory because at the end of the day, these are his people. And Grummz goes on to say, back in GamerGate 1, we fought together against the woke mind virus. We fought so hard. They went after his company and his game, trying to cancel him in Kingdom Come, a largely unknown game at the time. Gamers rallied and brought the game in droves, defying game journalists of the time. This, again, is nonsense to me because basically you're trying to say that Kotaku had this wide reach where it was millions of people reading their articles. And when people saw it, it struck a nerve. And all of a sudden they rose up to buy Kingdom Come in direct defiance of Kotaku. We all know for a fact Kotaku don't have that kind of reach. They don't pull that. They don't have that kind of pull. You could just tell by the games that they tell people to buy, and it has no effect. 5 million people bought Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me that all 5 million of them were buying the game because they wanted to make it clear we don't like black people or gays or women of power in our media. That's not the message that was being sent. They were also not trying to send a message that they were against games journalism or media or games media. There's a whole lot of people who buy games who never look at IGN, who never look at Kotaku. Like, I'm sorry, but these GamerGate guys, I feel like they significantly overestimate their reach. Moving on, for someone who put his entire studio and game on the line, I will give a huge benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise. Daniel knows how to make a great game. I will wait and see. Well, Warhorse saw the response from people. They saw droves of people going to their live stream a couple of days ago and repeatedly asking about this and accusing them of being woke and saying a bunch of negative, derogatory things regarding gay folks and all that kind of stuff, and going in droves to their Steam page doing the same thing. So they did what any other developer does when they're faced with the same situation. They updated their code of conduct. They said, hey, we're grateful. And I'm sorry, it's not Warhorse directly, right? This is Playon, who is responsible for their community management and for their for a lot of the publicity and marketing in regards to the game. And so it's probably a collaborative effort between both them and Warhorse to decide how this kind of stuff gets handled. So they came out with this updated code of conduct saying, We're grateful for the vibrant and passionate discussions that take place here, your love for this game, blah, 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 blah. Let's get into the juicy portion, right? Zero tolerance for discrimination. Discrimination in any form is strictly forbidden. Racism, sexism, homophobia, ableism, ageism, religious discrimination, classism, colorism, all of this stuff, they will no longer allow. And to be clear, this was not laid out in this fashion prior to this whole issue breaking out. And then it goes further. We stand against all forms of hate speech and dangerous ideologies. This includes white supremacy, advocacy of racial superiority or supremacy theories, and neo-Nazism, promotion or support of Nazi-related symbols, beliefs, or ideologies. Now, the vast majority of people on the planet would look at this list and say, no big deal. I don't feel constrained when you tell me, hey, when you come on my platform, don't be a Nazi, don't be a white supremacist. This really isn't that hard rules to follow, right? Well, for some people, it's very, very hard to follow. Archcast, very popular content creator, goes in the direction that you would probably assume, said, hey, KCD2 decided the game needed new rules 8 hours ago, banning hate speech, discrimination, and 1 out of 2 branches of socialist ideology. Getting nervous yet? Apparently he's nervous, but even more importantly, Flash. 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, 100,000 followers on Twitter. This is not a small-time creator at all. Made it clear, told the world he canceled his pre-order over this. Over a tweet where in the screenshot, it specifically highlights neo-Nazism. How dare you take a stand against neo-Nazism? Archcast has an issue with it. Flash is disturbed as well. He says, whoa, if you got a problem with neo-Nazism, you got a problem with me. I canceled my pre-order on Amazon. I am now in wait and see mode with this game because you all are openly making it clear you don't stand with Nazis. Holy smokes. And of course, Grummz weighs in as well, and he is equally upset. A day after reassuring gamers to trust them, Kingdom Come Deliverance and Warhorse Studios have updated their Steam Code of Conduct. There's an entire 9-point section on forbidden isms, including body shaming. The community manager is, again, an activist. No, she's not. Is this a case of a CM team sabotaging another great game? Now, when Grummz says they're sabotaging another great game, what he's referring to is community managers are, of course, responsible for dealing with the community. So if you've got a bunch of shitheads coming to your platform spewing a bunch of Nazi nonsense, the community manager is the person who oftentimes has to step in and tell these people, no, you can't do that. No, we're not going to allow that. No, you cannot stay here. Yes, you are banned. All that kind of good stuff. So oftentimes the community manager is the first person in line who catches heat from people like Grummz and his ilk, who want to be able to say whatever they want to developers. As I told you before in a different video, Grummz retweeted a content creator who told BioWare devs to kill themselves. He literally believes you should be able to say whatever you want and they should just deal with it. And clearly Warhorse Studios does not agree. Moving on. While hate does not belong on any game forum, he doesn't really believe that. This dude helps to spread hate all the time. The type of language used is loaded with woke terms. If you're anti-Nazi, you're woke. It has often been overconstrued by overzealous community managers to ban legitimate discussion, and non-politics have nearly always been enforced only one direction. Note that the CM works for PlayOn, as I already mentioned, who is handling marketing and social media for Warhorse. They, along with Warhorse, are all part of the Embracer Group. Somebody tried to get into an argument with me a couple of weeks ago and claimed that Warhorse Studios is still indie. They are not an indie studio anymore. They are absolutely a part of Embracer Group. Embracer Group is publishing KCD2. And it's a big reason why I believe KCD2 isn't quite AAA, but it's definitely got a much, much larger budget than KCD1 originally received, in part because they are now involved with Embracer Group. The Embracer involvement is a whole another story, very complex. I don't know anything about that. I still believe in Warhorse and Kingdom Come until proven otherwise. He's holding on to this relationship and this connection. He really, really wants Dan to come through for him. I believe this is just a case of the left and right hands not talking to each other, and that KCD's community team is not directly run by Warhorse at all. He's making excuses. He knows Warhorse is a part of this. I know Warhorse is a part of this, and I don't have any contacts or communications inside the developer. How do I know? Because I watched the live stream. I watched the live stream where they were constantly bombarded by idiots saying again and again and again and again and again, are you awoke? Are you awoke? You all have gone woke. You're adding gays. You sided with the gays. Down with them. We won't buy this game. I'll stick with KCD1 over and over and over and over and over again. They did this together. Warhorse doesn't want to have to deal with that bullshit. They don't want to have to hear from you all at all. And for anyone who believes that this was forced on Warhorse or that maybe they were duped into doing something they didn't want to do, Dan spoke out directly and made a statement yesterday. Turns out that we are once again in the middle of a rather bizarre culture war, this time from the opposite side than usual. Once again, highlighting for you, there's really very little difference between extreme sides of either argument. Grummz is just a mirror of everything he loves to complain about. So here's a statement, but I'd hate to spoil the plot of the game for the sake of it. The game is exactly what I wanted it to be. No one has tried to influence me as an artist in any way, and anyone who knows me knows I wouldn't let them anyway. Every character in the game has a very clear reason to be where they are, which you'll understand when you play the game. Our goal was, and still is, to show life in medieval Bohemia as it easily could have happened and to tell an interesting story. At the same time, it is a role-playing game, so it is purely up to the player what decisions they make, and for all the decisions they make, they are responsible for the consequences that correspond to the morals and social norms of the time. I don't want to spoil the plot, the important events, and the roles of some of the characters for anyone, so you have to see for yourself by playing the game, and then I strongly believe you'll agree with me. And as you can see, I strongly agree with him. This statement is pretty much perfect. Once again, I cannot wait to play this game. I said that on his channel, but then I actually retweeted him and said, this statement is exactly how I have always wanted developers to react in these types of situations. The game is exactly what I wanted it to be. Why couldn't Ubisoft say this? Why couldn't Obsidian say this? Just be firm and stand on your shit. It shouldn't be that hard. When Grummz came out saying that Obsidian was hiding that there were pronouns in the game, to me, Obsidian should have put out a statement. Obsidian should have been like, yes, there are pronouns in the game. We have made the very best game we possibly could. We are proud of this game. We stand behind this game. And we believe including the option to choose your pronouns was necessary to make the very best game we possibly could. When you all play the game, we are confident you will feel the same way. End note. Why couldn't Ubisoft say the same thing? We have made a story that we are proud of, that we believe people of both American and Japanese heritage will be proud of. And we believe that once you actually play the game and are able to see the content for yourself, you will agree that we made the right decision and that this is one of the best Assassin's Creed experiences you have ever had. Why can't you do that instead of all this capitulation and bending the knee and crying and whining about how you're treated and all of this nonsense? Just stand on your shit. This is one of the things I really appreciate about BioWare. BioWare never came out with a statement the way Dan has, but BioWare embodies that statement. They never backed off of Taj. Never. They never backed off of all the black hairstyles that was in the game and the clear focus on making black skin look amazing. They stood on their shit the whole way through. And even though I had issues with how they handled representation, I made that clear in my review. I also made it clear, hey, I really appreciate BioWare stood behind their creation. More developers need to do the same thing. I am really, really happy to see Dan do the same thing. Let's not pretend that Dan is some sort of pride activist. Let's not pretend that Dan is even left wing. He's not doing this because his ideology has changed at all. The very next game might be something that has no gay people, no black people, no nothing but white folks as far as I can see whatsoever. What Dan is and what I appreciate and respect, he's an artist. He's an artist. And he stands by the things that he creates. This is all I ask. This is all I ask. Stand by your creations. Or at least that's the way I felt when I looked at his statement. But of course, I'm not the only person on the planet. There are other people, and they didn't feel quite the same way. So, let's see. Vivifying. I respect your writing skill and can appreciate your written justifications for the content, but also be disappointed you lied or changed your mind without admitting you did and censored discussion around this. Glad you own the choice, but your integrity is still compromised. Dan responded directly and said, I did not lie and I did not change my mind. I don't feel like he lied at all, but hey, it is what it is. Moving on, there's another person. Just say those scenes are not about Henry, or at least avoidable if you choose, I guess, the correct route, the non-gay route, I guess. I don't care about anything else. Dan responds, I just did. Other people respond, hey, you're making it worse. Other people say other things. There's a lot of back and forth regarding this. There's a lot of people who did not like Dan's statement nearly as much as I did. And of course, we know the usual suspects are not pleased at all. Indy Meon, creative director for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, comes out to explain some of the controversy surrounding the game, but is very vague about it. He wasn't vague about it. Not really. I mean, he doesn't want to spoil the story. He doesn't want to tell you specifically what's happening, but he's like, hey, I want you to know I'm not compromised. Nobody made me do this. I don't have the woke mind virus. Sweet baby ink. didn't swoop in and make me do something I want to do. This is what they keep saying. They keep saying some outside force is making devs put this content in their games. No. These people are artists. They have a specific story, specific type of game they want to create, and sometimes it involves black people, gay people, non-white people, women who do not look like sex dolls, all of the above. And a lot of these games are fantastic. Dan believes he has made a fantastic game that also has what I am absolutely sure is a very small amount, a very meager amount of gay content. Moving on. So he outright confirms the same-sex romance options for Henry, who was not canonically gay or bi in the first game. No, he did not. He did not confirm that there are same-sex romance options for Henry. And I haven't heard that from any other outlet either. What he has made clear is that there is some pride content in the game. And if you played the first game, you would already know that one of the major villains is gay or bi or whatever. And most likely, these scenes center around that individual. But like usual, Indy Meon talks about shit he knows nothing about, just to center himself in the culture war. So even in this type of game, in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which the vast majority of people believe is going to be an incredible game when it comes out, he still can't help but to slander them. and spread shit that has no basis in reality. Player choice is player choice. However, I am more concerned about their community managers right now censoring people's free speech on their forums. And let me remind you once again, the free speech that he's talking about is why can't we speak in a way of white supremacy and Nazism? Why can't we encourage violence against you all? Why can't we harass you all? It makes us feel uncomfortable when you make it clear you don't want this type of shit directed your way. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? And then finally, I don't want to try to pretend that everybody who responded had a negative response, because that's not the case at all. Of course, there are a slew of KCD fans who are absolutely excited about this game, feel like Dan's statement was more than sufficient. And to be frank, there are a whole lot of people who are hardcore right-wing, hardcore anti-gay, hardcore anti-black, who are still like, this whole story is a big nothing burger, and it doesn't make any sense that you all are directing all of this hate and rage towards Warhorse. But anyway, Rhino the Bouncer, some people will talk about freedom, censorship, and use all kinds of talking points to pretend to have some moral standing, when in reality, all they want is make your game according to my own ideologies and side, or I'll shun you. I pity such people for their insecurity and inability to embrace art as it is, out of fear that its different ideas trigger or change them. I said this, all of this, but what's the first response? This sounds like toxic positivity. Oh man, and I think that just about wraps it up. Now you're caught up. You know everything that's going on with this Warhorse controversy. For me, it's dead. Dan's statement pretty much deaded it, made it clear. I'm my own man. I did what I wanted to do. I made the game that I wanted to make. It's not being changed, and it is what it is. Everybody else needs to get over it. Other devs need to learn from this. Other devs need to take this same reaction and say, we stand behind what we made. We don't care that you like it because there are too many gay people. We don't care that you don't like it because you think there are too many black people. We don't care that you like it because you believe the women are ugly. The women are too black. It would be so much better if you gave them big titties and made them light skinned and made them look Asian. We don't care that you feel that way. We made the game that we wanted to make, and we feel very confident if you decide to play it, you're going to feel the same way. Pure perfection. Thank you so much for watching the video. Looking forward to hearing all of your feedback down in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.